Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started the Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. Afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and to share their experience and knowledge with you. I hope you enjoy it.
Cool.
Right on, Ivan.
Hey,
Hello.
hey. Hi.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
That's
Busy
good.
day, but
Absolutely.
yeah.
The podcast will be focused on three questions. What do you do
Mm,
for a living? How'd you get there? How'd you know that this was the way to go? So,
yeah.
tell us what you do for a living. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, so I'm a data scientist at this not no longer a startup company called Amplify Analytics. So basically we can call it data science for business. Um, Basically, we take data from various sources. Usually, it's sales data, could be financial data, marketing data. Very often, we do various analysis on it, dashboarding and statistical machine learning models, so that we can predict different outcomes, which help our clients make better decisions. Yeah,
Basically, prognosis.
could be, because so I have worked on a variety of projects, and some of them have been related to some sort of prediction. Others have been related to more like because analytics could be descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive.
I see.
So I've been involved in all three types. So for example, if it's descriptive, it's more like a clustering, for example, algorithm where you have some sort of data on different customers, and then by clustering them, you segment them in different criteria that are go beyond the traditional business understanding of segmentation. And that's more like on the descriptive side because it's not like a prediction, but yeah, it could be predictive as well.
Sounds like one of those workplaces where you rarely have two identical days.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right on. How'd you get there?
Right. So, I mean, it's a long journey, I would say, because right now I think it's much more streamlined. If you want to work with data science, machine learning, you have amazing degrees, including here in Bulgaria. However, when I started, I did my bachelor's degree in economics in Birmingham, and it's a very broad specialty. And there, I was kind of I saw that I was pretty good at statistics and econometrics, and that piqued my interest. But I wouldn't say that I knew that I was going to work with data at that time. It's just that it helped me a lot with understanding things. And I did my bachelor thesis, obviously using a lot of stats. And this is where I first started coding up some models and using my first language. I think it was a very obscure tool called Gretel. It was very like
I
clunky,
haven't
but
heard that.
yeah. It's very weird. It's like freeware, a very early age freeware stat software and language. But basically, later on, I did my master's degree in business economics in Belgium, where I had some stats courses. But even till that point, it was more like a tool rather than something that I thought, oh, this is what I'm going to do. Well, I don't know, but maybe for the rest of my life. And it's very interesting how life happens and kind of drives you a certain direction. And what happened was, after I came back from Belgium, I started my first job in Experian, where I was basically an analyst, working developing scorecards, create scorecards. And that kind of pushed me into the data field. And then I did that for 2 years straight. And then I continued that in a different position in back to the UK where I studied in FICO. I did, I was it was called a data scientist, the position, but it was still basically doing credit risk models. And
Like a risk assessment.
not exactly, not in the financial sense. It's not like asset risk assessment. More basically on a low level. If you go to the bank and apply for a loan, basically a risk assessment of whether you will be able to repay that loan.
I see.
Right. Yeah.
And you're actually responsible for the not only for the analysis, but for creating the is it an application for creating the program that generates the analysis?
Um, you mean now or in the back?
Back when you were in Belgium.
Right. So when I was well, I mean, in Belgium, I just did the analysis for my courses, right, and for my master thesis as well.
Right on.
For my afterwards, again, it was more like just writing code for analysis for data cleaning and some transformations, and then some modeling. But I wouldn't say it was a full app. It was more just like in the end, the end result was on technically a list of instructions. This is what a scorecard is,
I see.
which itself is generated using statistics, but it's more like something like, let's say you have a base, let's say the score is from from 300 to 1,000, and you have a base score of 300, and then basically it says, let's say if you're of age 20 to 25, you get plus 50 points. If you're 25 to 30 plus 100 points, and blah blah blah, and then it builds up.
I have to pay loans for the next 29 years.
So you've
I'm
been through
aware.
that. Whether you know it or not, you've been through such a process.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, so basically that's what I did for 5 years straight, and I didn't like it that much, to be honest. Like it was okay, but it was a little bit repetitive. And the other thing that kind of bummed me out was that it was, especially my second job, the scale was larger, the responsibilities were bigger, but also there was a lot of politics. I mean, like business politics involved, in the sense that the thing that kind of drove me away from that job was, there was this huge project for a credit bureau. So basically, a credit bureau is something where, like, it's let's call it a huge database where all your credit history is recorded. So we have credit registry here, which is a bit different, but basically all the banks have this agreement to give their data to the credit bureau. And then basically you can have a much better credit score, much more accurate, because it pulls data from all banks. So if you have 5 different credit cards from from 5 different banks, and you apply for a loan, the bank will know and then the score will take into account all your credit accounts. So if you have some dirty history in one bank, that's the bank will be protected.
That kind of
However,
a transparency is always remarkable.
yeah, well, it's a good thing, but so the thing with that specifically, that score that I was developing, it was a huge project that spanned for a year, and it was interesting. It included a little bit of machine learning, I would say, but it was exhausting. It was very ambitious. Um, and I remember that our boss, our team lead was, pushing us to, do long hours, stay up late. And then about the time when it was kind of finished, I don't remember the exact conversation, but he would say something like, oh, maybe somebody would ask him, okay, so cool, when is this score going live? So I think it was in South Africa. So basically I was excited because I would be like, so millions of people applying for credits will be judged on the work I did. So that's a cool thing. It's a cool feeling. And he said, um, well, basically, this this core will not be used because it was a part of a tie-in deal with another score that has been developed by a different team. So
Yeah, that's a lot of things. Motivating isn't one of them.
well, I mean, it means that maybe the score will not go live. So maybe it's just part of an agreement, but all this work is well, not for nothing, but it's like you won't see the results of it, and that was, I think, that was demotivating.
Right,
So
absolutely.
sorry.
Absolutely.
Exactly, yeah. So that's when I decided that I think I need a bit of a change in the direction. And I already had the background with the data analysis and the modeling. I just kind of wanted to build on that. And that's kind of how I got into Python coding, R coding, and then eventually I found the company that I currently work in. And because I knew from a friend that the type of work that they do feels much more meaningful to them. It's uh, projects that, first of all, the scale is smaller, but also the responsibilities are higher because a lot of the stuff that otherwise would be offloaded to different teams or different people, it's all your responsibility. And the thing is, you see the result of your labor, right? So, and I can vouch for that. Definitely, I've done some projects where I can see, the clients have been, they've told me like, yeah, that's super useful. For example, our sales team is using that on a daily basis to make better decisions, and it's a super cool feeling.
It's pretty
Uh,
fulfilling, yeah.
right? Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I would definitely didn't know that I would end up here, and it was definitely a lot of like a journey of ups and downs, and up to the point where I started working for this company, I still had this feeling that I haven't yet chosen my path. So yeah, I mean, it was very interesting in that sense.
It's interesting that you actually knew what you wanted to study. I assume because you didn't switch courses, you went straight for economics.
Hmm.
Later on, you went to statistics and finance. How did you knew that this was the right way to go? And the reason I'm asking is because you can see that often, especially the last 10 years, often people start something like a course or a study or a master degree or something. They realize that's not for them. Sometimes, if they're lucky, they realize it fast. In
Hmm.
many other cases, they just graduate and they start doing something they clearly don't want and don't like.
Hmm.
But because of that stigma that you have to go to, and keep in mind, I'm not against academia at all. I've never was,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
because of that, you have to have a diploma stigma. People tend to make that kind of a mistake. And education, well, at least here in Europe, most of the time isn't expensive. As far as I know, in the States, it's very
Hmm.
expensive. But
Hmm.
the money really isn't the biggest issue here. The biggest issue is that it's next to criminal to lose that kind of a time, especially on a young person, which
Hmm.
is basically the reason why I started a podcast. So how did you know that this was the right way to go? Were you influenced by someone? Was
Hmm.
it a gut feeling? What was it?
I will reply to you with a story because recently a guy, I think from Turkey, approached me on LinkedIn for advice. Basically, he was very nice. He said, "I see that you have, good experience in the field of data science and machine learning. Uh, I am looking for advice because I'm just starting my career and education, and I am hesitating between two options." He said, one is like this really cool university in Milan, where I'm going to spend, let's say, 3 years studying. I think it was business analytics, But he said, I need to learn Italian to find a job there, and I don't remember what was his other concern, but on the other hand, the university is great. So second option, I stay here in Sofia. I graduate from Sofia University with I think it's also like applied analysis, business analysis, something like that program. I know, I mean, I already know the language a little bit, and I know that it's really easy to find a job. And what do you think as a person? What do I think, obviously, as a person who actually has gone the route of, good education a good education abroad? And I told him that I definitely didn't have the luxury of knowing exactly what I want when I started. And for me, it was like a safe option of basically investing in something that would help me, it would make me stand out. But in terms of like the actual knowledge and the actual practice, I definitely didn't know what I wanted to do. And I told him that having a good education abroad definitely helped me later on in my career for employers to take me seriously. However, as I didn't have this luxury of knowing exactly I want to do that, I want to do programming or coding or whatever, uh, it was a good idea for me. But he knows exactly what he wants. That's why I think if he goes for Sofia University and he knows the language and he's dedicated, he can very easily find for example a placement like internship his first year, and it's going to be well paid. And I think he's gonna definitely have a good I think in his case he can definitely go straight
The
to.
options in Sofia are indeed quite awesome. We didn't have those 10 years ago. But my initial question was, how were you able to aim yourself in that direction? Was it a gut feeling? Was it in result of the environment? Were you influenced by someone or something, or was it something else?
I think I would say it was influenced by the environment because I picked this specialty, economics, because I didn't want to become a lawyer or a doctor, but I wanted to have like something, I'm not even sure how to call it, but like a good ground in like a base specialty, like kind of like law. It was like one of those like not basic, but maybe like ground specialities, something that you can build upon because
Kind of a solid foundation where you
solid
can
like
actually,
foundational
yeah.
degree, exactly. Exactly, because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. Like I remember that I had some, I had some interest
And
in
were
market.
you at some point encouraged or discouraged by parents, teachers, something like that?
I was encouraged by parents for sure, and I was encouraged to go abroad. Um, and I mean, I think it was definitely for me. It was more like I knew that that could benefit me in the future, but I didn't know exactly how. It just felt like it would.
So it was a gut feeling.
It was, but also there was definitely some like definitely support from my parents. They were
Yeah,
actually
yeah, absolutely. I've actually found, because I've been interviewing people left and right lately, I found out that this is the best combo you can have, at least by the information I have so far.
Mhm.
Gut feeling plus the surrounding environment, because you can have a gut feeling, but let's be honest, there are places where even if you have good awareness, the social structure doesn't allow you to go there.
Mhm.
And I personally believe that that's a pretty solid combo.
Definitely, yeah, yeah. But like that's what I'm saying, that nowadays I think it's easier to kind of act upon your gut feeling and maybe even skip education altogether. I
Yep.
think,
Not to
because
mention,
mm,
there's a lot of information out there
exactly, there's
about
a lot
everything.
of information. Yeah. There's a lot of information. There is a lot of even if you go, as I said, the degree route, the university route, still a lot of more practical degrees that you can easily like transfer. I mean, translate to good job opportunities. Because for me, it was not straightforward. It was I knew, let's say, I knew a bit of everything, but I wasn't like somebody who, for example, uh, does finance and then goes straight to the city or whatever, big big four company, straight to the finance department with
Yep.
the right skills. So definitely it was like an exploratory process of what exactly I'm going to do with these general skills and general knowledge that needs to at some point become focused. But
Yeah.
now you can have focused knowledge of the
Yep.
straight up.
Absolutely. Well, Van, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here.
No, yeah, thank you, that was awesome.
All right. Then I can have you on next time when you decide to try something else with the career or something like that.
For sure, yeah, of course.
Right on. Thanks, man. Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Gap, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.